What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here with just some further news and further updates on the Timo Werner deal. As expected, didn't expect it to spiral this quickly, but Florian Plettenberg says Timo Werner, it's a done deal now. Total agreement between Leipzig and Tottenham. Loan extension for one more season, but with a new option to buy in the summer of 2025. Total package of the loan fee and option will be around 15 million euros. Tottenham will cover his entire salary. Werner will stay at Tottenham. All done. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham are planning to announce Timo Werner to stay on loan for one more season soon, already this week. Loan move until June 2025, confirmed as revealed today. Hefty wages there, £170,000 a week. One of the top earners at the club, which he's not a guaranteed starter at the club. I'm just so frustrated with this deal because it's so early on in the window. Like, did they really need to push the button this quickly?
Yeah, that's the peculiar one, because we had information, or we heard reports saying that Tottenham would explore options for wire players before kind of pushing the button on Timo. But maybe the fact that it's only a loan deal and it's not a permanent suggests that they're still not convinced by him. They want to give him a whole season, and obviously he's going to get more game time next season because we're in Europe. So I think he did a decent job when he was here for 6 months, but I still think the jury's out whether he's good enough to be a player to take us to the next level. I think that's fair to say. Obviously, big wages, but there's no transfer fee as of yet. So I believe the transfer fee is about 10 million euros, I think I read.
Around about that, yeah. Like that. 15 million euros.
Really?
Yeah. At the end of the
No, the loan fee, I mean.
Oh, sorry, loan fee. I don't know about the loan fee.
I think the whole package so far is like 10 million, I think, with the fee and his wages.
How much did we pay last season?
I'm not sure. I can't
You'd
remember.
expect probably half of that then.
Yeah, 5 million.
So there's 5 million then, 15 million this season, so that's 20 million already.
Yeah, but we're including wages, so it's a bit. So they're not including so like usually transfer fees are separated.
Yeah.
So it's not, obviously he's not free, but clearly they've decided that because we're in Europa League next season, maybe that it's worth just keeping him as a squad player for another year on loan, and then we can make a decision in a year's time. And next season, maybe it's because we're not in Champions League. Maybe if we did get that extra bit of money, we could push the boat out a bit more for another winger. But because we didn't get that extra bit of money, we can save it by just getting Timo on loan, and we know he can do a job in this system. Maybe that's the thinking behind it.
That's most definitely the thinking behind it. But the way I'm not looking at it from a club perspective and seeing the way they think about it. We know the way they're thinking about it. You know, it saves money. It brings in a player that did okay for us last season, the last 6 months. That which you got to say was, you know, our worst 6 months of the season. We were much better in the first half without him. But having said that, we did lack creativity massively when he came out the side in the last 3 or 4 games of the season. I'm thinking of it from a perspective of trying to take us onto the next level, trying to push us on and really kick us on to solidify our place in the top 4 to go and win a trophy next season. That it doesn't fill me with confidence and represent that can happen, having Timo Werner in the door. If we get other players to caveat that, if we bring in other players, other wingers, other strikers, and push our forward line onto the next level, then that's a different question. And you're talking about just a squad option and maybe someone that can come into the Europa League early rounds of the Cup and give our squad a bit of respite. But if he's being asked to be what he was asked basically when he came in here in his in the 6-month loan spell, it's not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough.
We did a poll on our X, if you go on it, and it says if people want to go and vote, go vote. The question was, do you want Werner to rejoin on loan? Yes, no, or it depends. And at the moment, it stands at 51% said yes, they do want him to join. 27% say no, they don't, and 20% say it depends. So definitely a mixed reaction, but seems as though most people are fairly content with him joining, and they don't see it as a big
if you
deal.
go by the comments, it doesn't seem like the comments on the announcements by Romano and the announcement by Plettenberg and all the other social media journalists, it doesn't seem fairly positive. It does seem like a bit of a mixed reaction, to be fair, but I don't know, I just can't help but feel a bit disappointed about this deal, and it just seems like same old, really.
It's hard not to think that when for however long Levy's been our chairman, these are the kind of deals we always have to kind of compromise with. And the fact that we've been promised a lot of change and big rebuild this summer, and yet it looks like the first deal through the door is going to be Timo Werner back on loan because he's cheap.
And don't forget Brandon Austin, 5-year deal as well.
5-year deal. So that is slightly underwhelming, I think it's fair to say. But again, I'm willing to reserve judgment on this deal, depending on what other business we do get done. But I can't help but feel that Timo Werner on loan yet again is a bit of an underwhelming signing, considering we've already seen what he's like. We know what he can do, and he can be very frustrating. And how many times, the ball falls to him and he screws things up. But then again, he did get 5 goal contributions. He did have a few games where he did contribute. So on that side, I can understand that we know there's a player who can, we know how much he can contribute, and we're not really paying much for him. And it's only a loan deal. And if he's a squad option, I mean, he's not the worst squad option to have. But if the problem is, if he becomes one of our main players, or if he's our starting winger next year, then we've got a problem, because it means the quality's not there.
I'm looking at it and being like, first of all, it's a very, like we keep saying, a very underwhelming signing. Nothing close to pushing us onto the next level, which we need to do in our second year with Ange Postecoglou. You look at all our rivals. You look at Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Aston Villa. You even go as far down to West Ham, Newcastle. Would they be making a signing like this on Timo Werner on loan for a whole season? Would he come anywhere close to any of those teams' first teams? No, he won't. So why are we doing these kind of deals?
Because we're Spurs.
It's most frustrating. He won't even get into West Ham's team. Never, and Newcastle, Villa, all these teams that are below us, and the team that finished above us in Aston Villa that had a drop-off in the latter stage of the season. We're trying to compete with them. We're trying to trump them over, and we're making signings that they wouldn't even think of making. That's the reality.
That's true. And from that point of view, it's definitely right to feel frustrated that we're still going for this level of signing. What we know, we're very much aware of the level of Timo Werner, and we know he's not getting any better. We know his level. So that from that point of view, it's definitely frustrating. But as I say, if he's yes, they wouldn't sign him, a lot of these clubs, to be starters, but if we're signing him to be a starter, then it's a problem. If we're signing him to be a squad player, then for a year loan, I mean, it's not the end of the world, I guess.
You're not signing him on, like, what is he, second highest earner at the club now?
Yeah, but we're not paying
170 grand a week.
fee.
Yeah, but you look at him at 170 grand a week, and then you look at other players who are nowhere near that, and they'll be like thinking, how is this guy on 170 grand a week when I'm knocking around like 100, 120?
Because we give him, because he's on a loan.
Yeah.
He's on a loan deal, so he's only here for a year. We haven't paid a transfer fee, so we can justify paying him a high wage. If we were paying, signing him permanently, I think we'd have more of an issue with that wage, I would assume anyway.
I'm just talking about in hierarchy of the squad. Like, players won't look at it being like,
Also,
we didn't pay.
He's one of the more experienced players, 28 years of age.
Yeah.
He has won things. I don't know. I'm just trying, usually the older players are going to have a bigger wage, I'd assume, then because he's joining a very young squad. Look, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have signed him, and I'd look to spend big money on 2 wingers. Unfortunately, that ain't the case. And as I say, I'm sure Ange would have signed off on this. I don't think this is something that Ange would have been against. I don't think we would have done it if Ange was like, no, I don't want him here. I'm sure Ange would have said, look, I saw him last season. I liked what I saw. The fact that we've pushed the button early as well tells me that we're fairly convinced that this is the right move for us right now.
Yeah, I guess Ange probably thinks that he can get a tune out of him. He'll back himself to do that. He saw what Werner was like week in, week out in training, day in, day out. He played him a hell of a lot of times because of the injuries and the situation in the squad. So look, if Ange genuinely thinks that he can get a tune out of him and he's got a big use for him, then I've got to back it. I can't. There's no point going against the manager that sees him day in, day out in training. That's the reality. But the way I look at it is it just feels like a signing. It just smells and stinks of Daniel Levy. And it also just massively talks to me about lack of ambition. That's what it says to me. So I guess that's the news update for today. It looks as though Timo Werner to Spurs is a done deal. Fabrizio Romano says expect an announcement this week. So we'll be covering that for you, obviously. Just very frustrating. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you backing this Timo Werner signing, or would you prefer us to go for someone else? Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.